Let's begin today's show with the continuation of Panchatantra by Aparna Ramaswamy.
Good morning, I'm Aparna Ramaswamy and welcome to the Panchatantra. We're going to pick a couple of stories. They both actually are titled very similar. The first one is called The Bird and the Ape. The second one is called The Sparrow and the Monkey. They talk about the basic theme of when is it okay to offer advice? Can you offer good advice to someone who's not listening? Can you get away with offering bad advice that just serves your purpose? And there are two jackals who are arguing this. So one jackal says, in that story of the bird and the ape, there were a group of monkeys who were trying to get warm at night. They had a bunch of red berries that they had collected, and mistaking them to be small embers of spark they could blow up, they kept blowing on those berries. Now there was a bird who was watching this, a wise old bird, and he saw that the monkeys were having the wrong idea. So he told those monkeys, those are not embers, you're not going to be able to make a fire with that. Those are berries and you should be eating them. Now the monkeys were stubborn and they just thought this bird was being an interfering old fellow, and they told him, well, don't bother with us, don't give us your advice, we don't want your advice. And this bird for a while stayed away and quiet, but just couldn't help himself. He just wanted to make sure the monkeys were okay because it was a cold night. And he kept telling them, why don't you listen to me? The monkeys got so exasperated with him, they just pounced on the bird and killed him. So the jackal says, you have to know when to give advice, even if it's good. And then he says the other story is, there were a couple of sparrows that lived in a tree, and there was a monkey. It was a cold, miserable, rainy night, and the monkey was drenched. So these sparrows, out of goodwill, told the monkey, well, why don't you go try to build yourself a small house over there? There are some twigs and branches that we saw in that part of the jungle that'll keep you dry. The monkey was so affronted by these birds and says, what do these two birds know? How dare they have the, impudence to try and offer me advice? And he got so angry with those birds that he killed them. So the jackal says, even though your advice is good, sometimes it's better not to offer any advice. And the other jackal says, well, sometimes when you try to do things that are mean-spirited, you end up causing yourself more problems, just like the dad who was killed because of the son's plot. The jackal says, what's that story? Please join us next week for another episode of the Panchatantra. I'm Aparna Ramaswamy.